One of the hottest pieces of news in the global football scene over the past 24 hours is the revelation that midfielder Paul Pogba has tested positive for doping for the second time and may face a maximum suspension of up to 4 years. This incident began about 3 weeks ago, when Pogba tested positive for testosterone, a hormone that enhances athletes' endurance. You may have heard of this substance through television commercials. In simple terms, testosterone makes men as masculine as possible in sports. It helps athletes recover quickly, increase their endurance, and maintain muscle strength. Therefore, FIFA has banned the use of any substance that boosts testosterone, which is considered a prohibited substance in football, and can result in severe penalties for players who violate the rules. This happened to Paul Pogba after the match between Juventus and Udinese on August 20th. Pogba was randomly selected for a doping test. Even though he wasn't on the field, Pogba's test sample came back positive for the banned substance. Immediately after that, Italy's anti-doping commission informed the club. According to FIFA's rules, a player who violates anti-doping regulations can be banned from playing for 2 to 4 years, depending on appeals and mitigating factors. If the highest authority in world football is provided with sufficient evidence that the player unintentionally violated the rules, the penalty may still be imposed, but at a much lighter level. After being found to have used the banned substance, Pogba admitted to Juventus leadership that he had consumed some nutritional supplements, though was unaware that they contained testosterone. The Italian club took a cautious approach to evaluate the situation, and Pogba was suspended from playing immediately. Coach Allegri admitted that he was unaware of the test results and called for more information. Following this, Paul Pogba's representative, Raffaello Pimenta, made a statement: "We will wait for the B sample, and until then, we cannot disclose anything. One thing we can affirm is that Paul never intended to violate any rules." You might notice the somewhat cryptic term "D sample" in Pogba's representative's statement. This relates to the doping testing procedure for an athlete. When an athlete undergoes a doping test, the sample is split into 2 parts, labeled A and B. If the A sample tests positive, the B sample is subjected to a more specific and detailed analysis. An athlete can request the testing of the B sample within 3 days of being notified of the positive A sample result, which is the case with Pogba. Pogba's B sample was sent to a laboratory in Rome, and now that the results have been confirmed, he will be investigated by the anti-doping prosecutor's office. The French midfielder, born in 1993, will have to appear before the anti-doping prosecutor within a week to defend himself, or be interrogated, depending on the circumstances. Pogba may admit guilt and receive a reduced penalty of up to 50%. For example, if he is initially banned for 2 years, this could be reduced by 1 year when the investigation concludes. The prosecutor's office may close the case or refer Pogba to Italy's National Anti-Doping Tribunal for adjudication, where he could face a much more severe penalty. Currently, Juventus is waiting for FIFA's final decision. If FIFA decides to penalize the midfielder, Juventus may terminate their contract with Pogba, which is currently valid until the summer of 2026. Pogba's case is not unique in the world of football. One of the most notable examples is the doping scandal involving Andre Onana in 2020. The Cameroonian goalkeeper unintentionally took a medication prescribed by his wife after waking up feeling unwell. The medication, furosemide, does not have physical performance-enhancing effects that can be used to mask other doping substances after a doping test. Onana initially tested positive for this banned substance and received a 1-year ban, which was later reduced to 9 months by the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Onana said, "I mistakenly took it instead of an aspirin pill because the packaging was almost identical. I deeply regret it. I respect UEFA's disciplinary body, but I don't share their decision in this case. I consider it reasonable because UEFA acknowledged it was an unintentional mistake." Another recent case similar to Pogba's involves Atalanta defender Jose Palomino. Before the start of the previous season, the Argentine defender received a temporary suspension from the anti-doping tribunal after testing positive for clostebol, a banned steroid metabolite. Palomino's test sample contained this substance, which is on the World Anti-Doping Agency's prohibited list. He was suspended for 3 months pending further investigation. In November 2022, the Argentine player was cleared of all charges by the National Anti-Doping Tribunal and was allowed to resume training and playing with his teammates. One thing Pogba can take away from these 2 cases is that once he has a positive doping test result, he's almost certain to be away from the football pitch for several months. If cleared, he can return to playing, but that may not happen until the beginning of the following year. Alternatively, if found guilty, Pogba could face a minimum ban of 1 year and a maximum of 4 years, depending on the severity of the offense. The former Manchester United player's career seems to have taken a downturn, as you have seen, since leaving Old Trafford. Pogba has not been able to deliver on the promises he often made in the documentary series titled The Pogmentary on Amazon Prime. He sent a message: he wants to prove to everyone that Manchester United made a mistake by not extending his contract. This message was conveyed by Pogba and his agent at the time, Mino Raiola. Raiola once gave him advice while playing for Manchester United: "You are a different person. It's truly abnormal compared to your national team teammates." Pogba returned to his true self, the version of Pogba that everyone loved during his time at Juventus. However, with Manchester United, it seems like something is holding him back. In the end, the French midfielder returned to where he made a name for himself, Juventus. They acquired him on a free transfer, without paying a single penny. Their leadership also hoped that the player wearing the number 6 jersey could deliver his best performances, even if not at 100%, but at least 2/3 of that level. But in the end, all that the 2018 World Cup winner has shown at this point can be summarized in 2 words: wasted potential. He essentially wasted an entire 2022-2023 season due to injuries, playing only 10 matches and providing just one bright spot: an assist in the 90+7th minute for Federico Getty against Sevilla in the Europa League. On that day, Pogba played for about 20 minutes, but managed to impress with his ability to escape pressing and make pinpoint passes reminiscent of his peak performance. However, later on, the 1993-born player once again succumbed to a thigh injury. On that day, Pogba cried due to the injury, and his second stint at Juventus also seemed to be fading away. But it's also Pogba himself who has hindered his own opportunities. In August 2022, he declined surgery to treat his knee injury definitively. He chose to self-recover in a unique way, hoping to participate in the World Cup. A month later, Pogba had to undergo surgery in a belated manner. Then came the family scandal when his older brother, Matthias, exposed him for trying to sabotage Kylian Mbappé, followed by the image of him going skiing in December 2022, while still recovering from the injury. Everyone knows that skiing comes with significant risks for players with fragile legs. Now, a person who has just undergone surgery is waiting for the pain to turn into scars. After taking such a risk, at that time, Pogba was criticized by many for his lack of professionalism. In this season, he has played only 52 minutes on the field and continued to suffer from injuries. Then came the doping scandal, which could be the final blow to Pogba's peak playing career. We can understand his statements when he left Manchester United to return to Juventus, expressing frustration and determination to make his former club regret their decision. But a series of misfortunes and scandals have overshadowed those statements. Remember, Juventus is still paying him around £200,000 a week, with very little contribution in return. It wouldn't be surprising if the old lady decides to terminate his contract. If Pogba receives a formal ban from playing, if that happens, Pogba may have nowhere left to turn. Let's wait and see where Pogba's future will go. Now I say goodbye and see you again.